everybody, Chris Parry here from Equity Guru with today's 3-minute hit. Today we're going to take a look at a company that we talked a lot about a year ago, and they kind of hit hard times. Not going to lie. The company was Standard Uranium. STND is the ticker symbol. You may recall that we talked about them about a year ago. They were going in on the Sundog project in Saskatchewan, sunny Saskatchewan, actually frozen Saskatchewan. And they went in there, did some drilling, and they hit a rough patch in as much as the weather turned hard and the ground froze and the drills didn't do what the drills were supposed to do. So they came out of what was supposed to be their big splash drilling foray with not much to show for it, unfortunately. The markets hit them hard, the stock price went down, thing bottomed out around 2 cents, 1.5 cents. But you know what? That's the RIP for a lot of mineral exploration companies out in the big bad frozen north. They have one shot, and if they don't quite hit it out of the park, it becomes difficult to raise money. But the exception to that rule is the guys that really take it seriously, like the guys that put everything into their job. Like, there are a lot of guys that raise money to drill and then don't actually do the drilling. That's can't get a crew, the weather turned bad, blah 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 blah, and they raise more money and spend more money, raise more money, spend more money. These guys at Standard, they traveled the world raising money. They traveled the world pushing that this story was not going to be one that was going to die. And when the project tried really hard to die, they refused to give. John Bey, CEO out there, and his crew just stood firm into the breach. They were not prepared to give up. They did a little pivot into a content generator model, which takes away the all or nothingness of one project and allows them to expand out into several. They do know the ground out there really well, all too well. They know all the people out and the players out there all too well, and they know the investment market. And I tell you, a lot of people saw them shake and shiver and stumble, and those same people have now seen them accelerate. They found their footing. The stock price came into its own. The long-time believers put more money in, and this company is now starting to show its worth. It's gone from 1.5 cent per share to 7 or 8 cents a share just a few months later. This is one of the success stories of the Saskatchewan uranium claims. I've got all the time in the world for these guys because they've always just made it really clear, this is the company that we're going to run. This is a company that's going to be successful. If we hit a bump, we're going to hold the steering wheel tight, we're going to stay on the road, and we're going to accelerate out of it. And that is exactly what they've done. They found a little money, they found a little faith, they did the hard work, and now today they've just put out news to announce that the Sundog project, the one that was problematic for them, not going to lie, nobody's going to hide that, the one that was difficult, rather than go in there again and roll the dice, they've decided to option that off to a company called International Sustainable. What they've got for that deal is essentially enough cash to give them a base for the next 3 years. So International Sustainable will give them 200,000 cash this year and 200 grand's worth of shares. It will also do $2 million worth of exploration to maintain its 100% of the project. Year 2, they'll get 250K in cash, 250K shares. Year 3, 300K cash, 300K in shares. And along the way there, do $9.5 million worth of drilling. If they don't do that, property comes back. So what does the Standard get out of this? If all goes well, a 2% net smelter return, which the International Sustainable guys can buy off them for $1 million if everything goes great. I wouldn't worry about the net smelter return at this point. That's a long way down the line. What's interesting to me, though, is this project, which could have been the death of Standard Uranium. Sometimes the ground bites you in the ass, and that's what happened here. It's not that there's nothing there. Far be it from that to be the impression. It's the frozen north, man. Like, you see the videos of these guys out there putting the drills into the ground, and they are freezing. Like, things happen in the dark white cold, and unfortunately they just got caught. A big company, it doesn't matter, right? You get one problem with one drill, you go somewhere else and you drill 5 other places, and it's not a big deal. But a small company, man, you got a helicopter out, all the equipment and the people, and you're all staying in tents and you're freezing your ass off. Things don't quite work out, and you don't have the bank balance to just go and buy your way out of those problems. Unfortunately, you get what happened there. But credit to the crew, credit to John Bey and his peeps, because they resisted. They didn't just say, fuck this is too hard. They stuck about, they did the calls, they called their contacts, they called in some favors, and they turned this ship around. And anyone who dipped out because the share price was down and lost faith in these cats, well, look at the share price now. I would say over the last, over the last month, maybe 2, it's 2 months, this thing has gone from 2.5 cents up to 8 cents in the most recent trading. That's crazy. 2 months in a market where resources are out of favor by and large, in a market where a lot of their competitors who are larger, doing more work, have struggled to get a rise. Standard Uranium has popped. Not only popped, sometimes you get a pop and then people take their profits and it goes back down. They popped up to 9 cents this month, dropped it down about to 6.5, and now it's come back up to. So what we're doing here is they've formed a base. Their base was 2 cents, right? The base was touching on 2 cents, and now the base that they've formed is 8 cents just 2 months later. That is a big return for anybody who got in when we said have faith in these guys. They are not assholes. They do know what they're doing. It will be okay. This thing's popped off. So credit to everybody at Standard Uranium. I look forward to seeing what they do next. They've got a good news flow happening now. They've pulled in a couple of new projects, and people have faith. When you see guys go through the dark shit, and they come through it, they fight their way through it. They don't just take the easy way out, but they fight for their shareholders, they fight for their founders, they fight for the people that had the faith. That, you wear that around your neck going forward. John Bey will always be the guy who fought for his shareholders. Whatever he does in future, whatever happens with Standard Uranium, he's a stand-up guy. Now, we've got clients that we put money into over the last few months that the first sign of trouble, they're out the fucking door. I got a heart problem. I can't do it anymore. Great, that's great for you. So now my 5 cent stock is 0.5 cent and you're out the door. John Bey could have done that. Could have at any point said, I'm moving on to other things. Could have said, well, this is just too difficult, so we're tapping out. Nah, man. He fought, and he's winning the war, and he's doing it in a way that a lot of people never actually try. So he had a client right now. They were a client a while ago. But I hope that they become one again, because you got to like the good people. You got to keep them close. STND is the ticker symbol. And if all you want out of a CEO of a mining company is that they will fight to the death for your dollars to protect your cash, well, you just found one.